You've felt it, right? That tension in the air between generations? It's this friction that feels, I don't know, a lot deeper than the usual jokes about kids today or out-of-touch elders. So let's just dive right in and really unpack what's going on with this generational trust gap. This quote, wow, it really hits you. It gets right to the heart of what we're talking about today. It suggests the problem isn't just about people not getting along. It's about a profound loss of confidence, a quiet fear that the promise of a better future might actually be fading. Okay, so look, a little conflict between the young and the old, that is nothing new. Seriously, it's as old as time itself. It's part of this natural cycle where experience meets new energy. But the friction we're all feeling today, it's heavier. It feels more brittle. It just feels different. And this here really frames that shift perfectly. See, a healthy tension is actually productive. It's how society innovates and renews itself. But what happens when that trust breaks down? Well, that healthy tension sours into estrangement. Idealism starts to feel like betrayal. And instead of renewing society, the whole thing just starts to erode our belief that we can even move forward at all.
So, if this is a real fracture, then what's causing it? Well, it seems to come down to three specific, very modern forces that are pulling the generations apart like never before. Let's take a look at each one. First up, there's a huge economic imbalance. For a long time, the basic promise was that your kids would be better off than you were, but that promise is stalled. Wages are flat, but the cost of everything from housing to education is soaring. That engine of upward mobility has, for many, just seized up.
Second, you've got demographics. As populations in many countries get older, older voters naturally hold a lot more electoral power. This can lead to policies that protect existing assets, while things like debt and instability get pushed onto the younger generation. You can see how that would feel like a huge betrayal, like the ladder's being pulled up right behind them. And the third force? Well, it's technology. It's like an accelerant poured on this fire. Algorithms sort us into these generational echo chambers, you know? They harden stereotypes. And for the first time ever, this tension is synchronized in real time, all across the globe.
OK Boomer is the perfect example of this in action. The phrase went viral not because the feeling was new, but because technology allowed this collective of exasperation to be instantly weaponized into a global shorthand for the entire divide. It's just a powerful illustration of how tech amplifies the fracture.
So let's zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture. To really get why this moment feels so significant, we kind of need to see how the idea of trust itself has changed over the last 100 years.
This timeline tells a fascinating story. Back in the 40s, trust was basically about survival. You had to depend on each other. Then, by the 60s, it was about progress and a shared social contract. But look at the shift in the 2000s. The whole thing inverts. Debt falls on the young, while assets are held by the old. And today, trust feels so thin, based more on perception than on any shared sense of progress.
And the data really backs this up. It's pretty stark. You see about 40% of Gen Z feel like older generations have made things worse for them. On the flip side, a similar number, 40% of older people, see young people as less resilient. And maybe the most telling number of all, fewer than 1 in 3 young adults expect to be better off than their parents. The numbers paint a very clear picture of mistrust.
So here's the crucial point. This isn't just a squabble. It's not just about online arguments. We have to think bigger. This is about what the source material calls the architecture of succession, and that makes it a fundamental challenge for our civilization.
Which leads us to this massive question. What is really at stake here? I mean, what actually happens when those invisible bonds that tie one generation to the next start to break? The consequences are probably a lot bigger than we think.
This right here is the key. Generational trust isn't just a nice feeling. You should think of it as the essential infrastructure, the operating system that allows a civilization to keep going. It's how we pass down our values, our skills, and our belief in institutions. It's the mechanism of continuity itself.
And that brings us to the ultimate stakes. Just let this quote sink in for a minute. It's saying that civilizations don't fall apart because they run out of money or guns. They fall apart when the next generation looks at what they're being handed and decides it's just not worth it.
Okay, that sounds incredibly dire, I know. But the story doesn't have to end there, because any feedback loop that can fail can also be rewired. So let's pivot from the problem to the solution. Let's bring this huge challenge back down to a human scale. This is where the real work begins. And the key to all of this is a powerful idea: reciprocity. It's about rediscovering that taking care of what we have, stewardship, and passing it on, inheritance, are actually two sides of the very same coin. It has to be a mutual project. It's a two-way street.
And this isn't some abstract theory. It's something we can put into practice in really simple, concrete ways. Think about it. A weekly shared meal. It's a ritual of cooperation, a space to actually talk. Or coaching a local team, or volunteering. Those things rebuild trust through shared effort, where age and status just fall away. Or building real mentorship programs that reward both teaching and learning. These small acts, they're the building blocks of reciprocity.
So we end where we began, with this same image, but hopefully with a new perspective. The challenge isn't about assigning blame. It's about rebuilding that bridge of expectation stone by stone. It's about elders and heirs reinvesting in one another and remembering that continuity is and always has to be a mutual project. So the final question isn't for them, it's for you. What's one small act of reciprocity you can start today?